Well, to Brittany, Paige, and just Dollemore. It's 4:15 on the West Coast time. For a very chilly December 11th, 2024. The Weaver Agency of Roseman, California, who does the diary of a griever named John Weaver, which is me. Jess, we've talked a lot in the past, sometimes on the phone, sometimes on video. I notice you're not one of the bottom feeder independents out there who keep going after the other independents just because you feel like you're a piranha. Because these guys are still going after each other. But I guess Trump is worth news since he's already controlling or trying to control it like a certain propagandist back in World War II. If I happen to mention him, I may get nailed by Google and YouTube on this one. Oh, what's wrong with the name Herman Gehrman? Gearing. Herman Gearing. Or something to a close approximation of them. A controlling propagandist who is trying to tell the world what the order will be. Do you not understand the world? The order as it must be? You are the low-life media. You are nothing but an insect that needs to be squashed. We will be controlling the media from here on out. And you will play nice to the Trump. Don't you know this is the hierarchy of the Trump world? You run around like a complete moron of being a little tiny roach who thinks he's impervious until he falls down onto the ground and almost dies. You are like him. And this is how we feel about ourselves. We are moral, we are superior, we are of the Trump. And of course, I'm going to have to do the physical manifestations, the eyes, and God knows what else I got to promote the impression I should be part of the Trump media and therefore spout out the lies and everything else and do this kind of weird ass sound effects for him, and not to mention anything else regarding it. Ugh, God, we already got those going on right now as it is for a long while. Murdoch's having problems with his own kids and illegals and the legal issues he's got. He wants to make sure that he continues to serve his lordship, Donald Trump. But somehow the court's conservatorship said, no, we're not. We don't want that. We're not doing that. So if there's going to be any changes happening, sorry, Elbean, but it's not going to be that conservative, is it? You're screwing around with people left and right who actually want to change it, but you don't want to change. You just want it for yourself. I think I'm hearing rumors about that somewhere. Maybe there's some kind of justice. Maybe there's some kind of thing going on where we're actually trying to make a difference in our lives. But dealing with these people, I don't know. And now Trump's trying to make it into his Barbie world, isn't he? I watched that movie once. I never watched it again. I fast forward a lot of pieces of the thing. I just couldn't deal with it. Barbie world has to wake up to the regular real world. Well, the real world isn't Donald Trump, but unfortunately, our voters who voted the bastards in are soon going to realize the nightmare that they just unleashed on themselves twice. First time we actually had a Congress and we actually had a White House controlling everything in the first 2 years before the midterms. Then afterwards it became little more rougher for the Trump administration. Now he's learned. And we'll see if the courts are really going to be following through by dismantling the Constitution that everyone else has sworn an oath to every time they keep making public office. The Doge, how about that one? They get rid of voters. Did they ever realize that one? Some of these employees in the federal government may have voted in Donald Trump, but if they all voted against Donald Trump, then I guess every one of them is a single rotten traitor. No, but this name I'm not even going to pronounce concerning about what people are talking about him. I mean, you can laugh about him all you want. I don't want to do the word salad out there for this schmuck. They're all schmucks and they're all Trump against him and they're all worthless as hell. It's bad enough I got Swami going after the FBI. He wants to dismantle the Department of Justice. He wants to dismantle everything. I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not looking forward to the changes that the Republicans want to make because they want to make us into Venezuela or worse. I kept reading about the remarks concerning about Elon Musk making more and more than God. And he doesn't care. You can't buy your way into heaven by making that much money. He's going to discover that his own heaven is here on earth. And if he screws it up here, well, I don't think he's going to get a good afterlife at this point. I know some of the people I hang out with at online church, they have very mixed opinions. I don't like Trump and his lunatics. I don't like them either. I think they're all lunatics. I mean, not the online church. I mean, they got their own varied opinions, but if they try to bring up Christ, and I know you're going to bring up the old bat phone there. You deal with all these wannabe pastors out there who think they know better. Yeah, I've seen them. I've seen the videos that they keep posting out there. And every time you and other people are going through Right Wing Watch, I'm trying to locate the original sources. And when I do find the sources, I try to stomach and listen to the damn thing. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what am I doing this thing in the first place? I'm going into enemy territory. And I listened. And I'm like, well, you guys are definitely not part of Jesus, that's for sure. But do you think Jesus is like this? Oh boy. You listen and be assaulted by the stuff for so long, I'm surprised you don't get to be turned into one of these lunatics. I turned off the commentary in my head when it came down for the CNN and MSNBC and their like, because all I hear is the word salad coming out of the people's mouths on both sides. We're turning into a state propagandist. It's not what I'm fearing, it's what I'm saying. But it's also the fear mongering I've been seeing for the past 20 years, or more than that. We don't have a balanced news world. There's no such thing as balance. We have different viewpoints of what the news is supposed to be. Unfortunately, the local news outlets try not to be political, but if they're owned by a political entity such as Sinclair, then they too become tainted. Out here in Kern County, California, Sinclair is big. I'm in the LA market. I deal with the LA market. I'm liberal minded, so we try to get it balanced and we try to see what's going on in the news. But the local news stations don't do political commentary. Don't try to point people to what this particular viewpoint is. If I'm watching something like a chase, then I know it's a chase. If there's a fire going on, which we have right now as it is, that becomes the news for a while. And God forbid, if Donald Trump's going to be saying that we have to do this and do that. I don't think they're covering it as much, except as a news piece. But the one thing they haven't done is have as a propaganda officer or a political viewpoint, telling people what they think and telling what they should feel like. No, you guys are doing that all on your own. Try to preserve and defend democracy left and right, and viewpoints and freedom. Yeah, everyone's stuck in that word freedom. They don't even know what the word means, or liberty, or justice. Justice is equated to revenge. Freedom is someone else's viewpoint of what they think it should be, but it's slavery still. And let's see, justice. I don't know. Everything else has got this mirror flip flop. We're looking at the flip flop. We think we know what justice is, and liberty, and freedom is. We don't. When I was taking political science classes in college several years ago, I had learned some of the political terminology used. Neocons, neo this, neo that, neo. It's supposed to be new this and new that, and new this, new liberalism or new conservative, and new. What is this? I may learn the terminology in past class, but the problem is, to understand it deeply, I'd really have to become a nutcase on this one. It's no wonder I hadn't switched my majors from English literature to political science, because it's all nut job. History, they say, is told by the victors. No, history is told by other viewpoints that makes up the history. Different viewpoints of the same thing. I talk about it on my videos a lot on this one. Drives me crazy. Now, I put out the globe. It's a Christmas ball anyway, but it still works. All right, Miss Paige. All right, Mr. Jess. What do you see here? You may say something about that one, don't you? Yeah. Have to see some things, don't you? I think you got a pretty good idea. And this thing will stop in one particular, lock you in, and you're stuck with that viewpoint. Doesn't matter what everything else is, you're stuck on that viewpoint. That's us all the time. Not on the viewpoint. I've got another viewpoint, but it may not be the same as yours. Pink Floyd, album cover for Dark Side of the Moon. Well, it makes the white light. Science thing. Blows people away, doesn't it? We all have our own viewpoints of what we think should be and what is. We never see the whole thing until we get the other news from everybody else and think, yep, that's it. When it comes for something real, such as a fire, that's one thing. But this is everything else we're dealing with in politics and our own viewpoints, looking at the world itself. Was there or was there not a spot? I don't know, because I don't see it on yours. I see it on my viewpoint, but I don't see it on yours. Was there a spot? Because you can back up the video and try to figure that one out. Was there a spot in the globe? But how do you know? How would you know if you only got the one single spot? I could probably just show this on a consistent basis, and that's about it. I can say there's a spot on it. And you're saying, no, but there's a spot on it. No, there isn't. There's a spot on it. No, there isn't. You got a point? Maybe I should have made my major in college philosophy. There's a critical thinking professor we actually had for several years over there. I don't know if he's still over there. This is one particular professor that nobody can figure out because his viewpoint is so out there that he had a very slim success rate. Everybody else flunked out, including me. Even the philosophy professors didn't understand this guy, and he's been there for as a tenure. One tenured professor talking about another tenured professor, and he couldn't understand his colleague. I mean, a nice, pleasant gentleman looked like a beatnik. Looked like a beatnik. Short pants, and you had sandals, and you had a beach shirt, a button. Looked like he just came off the beach. And yet this guy would be teaching you philosophy in a way that you never learned. In a way of doing critical thinking that throws people off left and right. Nobody could figure this guy out. And yet when you took the challenge, and I did it because I didn't know what the hell I was doing at the time. I thought I was beginning. It was Philosophy 101. No, that should have been Philosophy 106 was the beginning. This guy was critical thinking. What the hell was I thinking at the time? I wasn't. I flunked out because I couldn't understand where this guy was coming from, and yet he was tenured. We're looking at things in our own different viewpoints until we get challenged a great deal. We're asked to believe in one thing or another. Is the fire burning up your house? No, that's not real. It's a figment of your imagination. Use your common logic. If the fire was there, then you would be dead. You're not dead, therefore there's no fire in there. And yet the fire is burning your house down. That would make the assumption that you are not in the house as you're seeing it burning down. But if you are in there and you're not dead, what's going on? Try to figure the logic in this damn thing. But this is the thinking we're asking to do, aren't we? This is the viewpoints we're looking at there. I probably am considered something else. And after hearing everybody else's word salad coming out of their mouth, I'm trying to understand it, what they're talking about. And I think they're talking a foreign language that I don't even know. I don't even know the idioms. I don't know the language, the sentence structure, nothing. You're just throwing out word salad, and I'm trying to get something that I can use as a reference. There's no Rosetta Stone for me to look at or to analyze your language or your meanings or your feelings. And yet this is what we're asked to do. This is what we've been asked to do and demanded to be doing. Because if we don't do it this way, we get the whip in our backs, don't we? Yeah, I like to use the metaphors, don't I? I like using metaphors like that. Because I'm hearing everybody else trying to say it one way or another, what they think life is supposed to be, and we're supposed to be looking through their viewpoint. I can't do that if my viewpoint is one way and you're looking at another thing here. It's like we have one idea, one truth. White light going through a prism, and the prism makes the separation of what our viewpoints are, and a lot of a spectrum. It could be sharp, or it could be as faded as hell, but it's still there. Every one of us has a piece of what the truth and what the element's supposed to be. But we all say we have a truth because it's ours. This is what we're told to believe, and not everyone else. Don't you understand about this one? Don't you understand about this one? We gotta promote the fear. We gotta push, 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 push. I'm listening to it. I turned you guys off. Because you guys are not showing me one thing. You're showing me everything that you have for your own word salad, but I already knew about the whole damn thing. Especially when I saw it the first time. And I saw what insanity was like. But everybody else didn't. We don't care about sanity. We want structure. We want stability. We bought the Kool-Aid and we're drinking it and we like the flavor of it. Until it's laced with cyanide and it's killing us. This is what we're dealing with. It's slowly killing us one way or another. We don't know what the truth is unless we killed or someone else's poison. And then either we are converted into zombies or else we're dead. I refuse to be neither. I don't drink the Kool-Aid. And that means if I have to turn every one of you guys off, I will. The things that matter to me right now is if we get into an earthquake situation, that I know what reality is. We got a fire situation coming up. I understand about that situation happening. And we have floods coming after the fires. That's another thing I try to stay the hell away from. There's a lot of things that are common sense that I don't take for granted, that I understand. But other people are taking it for granted. And I try to tell people about this one here, Jess. Brittany, you're pretty decent when it comes down for trying to tell people about the homeless situation. They won't know about the situation unless they're got thrown out in the street. And believe me, I know what that's like. Been there, done that. No, thank you. Try to tell another layman about it. I said, "Oh, you're full of it." Yeah, well, wait. You just wait. When you're in the food lines waiting for substance, that you got to stretch it out for maybe a day or two, maybe longer than that if you're lucky enough. And you still get hungry afterwards. You have to keep going to food places to get food. But in such places, it's not the food that you're looking for. It's news, it's information on the street. It's what is being determined. Now, what can be passed off as hearsay or not, I don't know. But what general knowledge I understand, or viewpoint I understand about a certain type of people that are getting afflicted left and right, I'm listening. And then I start listening to the arguments outside of their realm. And I'm thinking, I know I'm influenced because I've walked through their shoes. I'm listening to their stories. Even though I hadn't seen the action personally, I kind of get a feeling for this one. A long time ago, when I was doing the food runs in different places out here in the Southland, I listened to about one particular mayor in a city in the Antelope Valley. And he is not well liked, but he is well liked by those who are haves, and the have-nots, forget it. He's enemy number one. So when he was going off the rails on LA County on this one, because homeless people are being transported from down below up to here, and we're getting harassed. They're getting harassed left and right. Who do you believe when the mayor tells you, no, that's all propaganda and stuff like that? I don't know. You don't make up stuff about getting tossed in a jail unless you're getting tossed in a jail and you come out and then you got to tell people about what happened. Learn not to look at the cops in one particular fashion, or trust the hand of a limp handshake of a mayor that you meet who is enemy number one in a town, at least for the homeless. Yeah, get into politics real fast on that one there, didn't they? Bump it up to the national level. And seeing how our newly elected world leader is going to be to everybody else, and they're doing it. They're shaking with a limp handshake on this guy. He doesn't care. But people love him because he gave them the Gatorade and they drank it up, with or without the cyanide in it. They become the proverbial Jim Jones situation. All drank the Kool-Aid, all became brainwashed about the damn thing. And now they know that their end is coming. And they still drank it because they didn't have any choice. Why? Because you got the guys behind you. Oh, did you hear a bolt being slid back? And even they were willing to do it. Willing to sacrifice to their living God. In World War II, one country did that to themselves. A few other countries later on down the decades. Even the 21st century seems to be having the issues more and more. Maybe the Bible was right somewhere in there. Somebody thought it was Shakespeare telling about it. He increases knowledge, increases sorrow. Somebody must have said it somewhere in there. They say ignorance is bliss. No, ignorance will get you killed. not knowing about things, well, you get nailed by it anyway. You don't see the fire raging down the hillside, and you're in a cabin, you're hearing people tell you to get the hell out of the way, saying, it's all propaganda, until you're existing on matchsticks, and you become a matchstick yourself. A lot of gloom and doom and everything else going on, Jess. Since when did we listen to the damn voices and get the hell out of a cabin before it gets turned into a matchstick? Or willing to be turned into a matchstick because of philosophies? I don't know anymore. By the way, you on Blue Sky? It's supposed to be the liberal version of Twitter, but I don't see the difference. It's still the same. It's just politely dusted off. You know, it kind of reminded me of aristocracy powdering and perfuming themselves by covering everything ugly about them into some kind of sheen, and they pretend they are above everything. I'm waiting for that stuff to get dusted off the social media, because I know everybody else is practicing to do the same thing to themselves, physically, mentally, and nearly spiritually all the time. Yeah, I don't want to pretend. Yeah, I want to tell that fire roars down and tell me what pretend's all about.